Hi again, this is Rick Adams from practicalcsm.com, and today's podcast conversation is with Rich Goodman from Glue Group, and in fact is part 3 of a 3-part conversation that focuses on the question, resellers, are you a valued partner or just another supplier? Parts 1 and 2 are both already available. So if you've not already viewed or listened to those parts, I do recommend you stop this recording and go to those parts first. This is part 3. It takes off, of course, from where part 2 ended for the final 20 minutes or so of our conversation, and I hope you enjoy it.
Everybody's talking about at the minute that IT budgets have been slashed and people are being unfortunately made redundant, or security portfolios are being brought up.
Yeah.
Now's the opportunity to be able to go and have those conversations. Well, okay, your business is, suffering as everybody's is. How can we align ourselves to you, our brand to you, to make that better? How can we go on that journey together?
And this, I think, is the privilege of working in IT, because pretty much every other industry, right, you need it for a specific purpose, right? So you only need to purchase a ship if you're doing shipping, right? Okay. And even then, only if you're doing it multinational over the sea, over the oceans. So IT, on the other hand, you need it whatever you are and whatever you're doing.
Yes.
And that's such a privilege. So here's the thing, right, is it does not matter what the problem, the challenge, the opportunity is. The answer is almost certainly going to involve IT to greater or lesser extent. Not absolutely always, but pretty much always. The answer is at least partially IT. Doesn't even matter what it is. We already know that. Of course, in order to get the right IT, we need to first of all, stop selling and start listening, right? And listen to the customer to understand what their problems and their challenges and their opportunities and their strategies are, and to help them put together something that is the right technology to support the business, rather than the old-fashioned buy the technology first and then tell the business what they've got, which is what companies used to do. And do not have any time for anymore.
Yeah, no, and that's it. And what then happens is if you've bought a piece of technology, you've implemented that technology to the best of your knowledge and ability, but it actually doesn't deliver on.
And then you tell the business about it. Yeah, and the business goes and.
Yeah. So a classic case actually is someone buys a piece of vulnerability management software. Right, they implement that management software in the fact that it's a cloud-based solution. They turn it on, it shows them the first report, fantastic, good, right, we've got vulnerability management. No, it's all around the people, the processing. You have to keep continually utilizing that tool to be able to get the reports out of it, take actions on it, and it's all that process built afterwards. It's not that, and what happens is the customer, whoever sold them that piece of vulnerability management software, it's not their fault, right? They're going to blame you as the partner because you didn't tell me I needed people and process to run this.
Yeah. So if they sold you a product, it's not their fault. If they'd sold you an outcome, then they didn't perhaps do a good job. But if the customer had gone to them saying, we know what we want, we need this software to do that thing, well then, sorry, but you bought that thing.
Yeah. No, yeah. But then
that's the difference.
Yeah, and you get into an argument with, and we had it, we had it at John Lewis where companies had sold us a specific product. It didn't actually meet the outcomes that we were trying to achieve because it wasn't outcome focused. What it was product focused, and the product seemed brilliant, but actually when you got it in there, you need another 5 people to run this. Okay, yes. So now I've got to go and find, $500,000 a year to be able to go and run this program. And I need to put all these processes in place as well.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was outcome focused, then you would have known about all of that up front.
Absolutely right. And no matter how much, as you say, that you've got great security systems, if you don't then if your people still leave the door open or don't log out when they finish or whatever it is, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So as you say, the people bit is important. But anyway, look, let's change gears for the final bit, because we've been talking quite a long time, and I did want to just touch on a little bit about the sort of the practical side of things. All right. So let's just roll our sleeves up for a moment. Okay. Let's say, okay, we're convinced, trusted partner, that's where we want to be. How do we engage differently with our customers in terms of perhaps the research that we do and the preparation before we even meet the customer? And also then, having done the homework and researched the customer, what do we do next as a salesperson in terms of how we might conduct ourselves differently in an initial meeting? Any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, so I mean, so Glue do a lot of sales enablement, as you know, right?
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. So we presented back to a group of salespeople, and I asked them the question of, if they were coming to meet me in my old previous role, how much time would they prepare before they come and meet me? Mm-hmm. And all of them said, "Oh yeah, we spent about 5 minutes looking up on the internet around the company." And that shocked me, because whenever I go in and have conversations with customers, with the partners, I spend a good hour understanding what that business has been doing. What are the latest news articles? What's their position in the market? What's their hot selling products? What are they doing that's different in the market? What are their competitors doing as well? Have they released any videos? Who am I meeting? Where have they worked before? See, when you're coming in and having that personal relationship with someone, that's absolutely critical, because it immediately knocks down a barrier. And if you can talk around the company and that you're educated on what that company is doing, you can then ask relevant questions to them around where they're going as an organization. And that immediately breaks down those barriers to be able to...
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. Perfectly said. I'm imagining a situation where the salesperson is walking in to meet perhaps a technical a head of role like you were in, that sort of technical head type role, but nevertheless their start point is saying, do you know, Rich, I was fascinated to read what your CEO said last week in his interview, or her interview with XYZ magazine, about your new vision to da 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 da. How has that impacted you in your area of the business? Those great conversations to have.
Yeah, and I mean, I always used to do it when I was meeting suppliers. I do a massive amount of research before they enter the room, and I would expect that, because by them coming in and knowing stuff around the organization, or me personally, or having done the research on where some of the challenges are, because a lot of it is documented, then, by doing that, it means they're invested and they want to be that partner. They want to work with us to resolve those challenges, or they understand the business that we're in and maybe some of the highlight of the challenges that we're going through.
Yeah, it says so much to the customer, doesn't it? Just a few sentences like that says so much, says volumes to them.
And the sales guys who are, I said to them that where are you talking at? So the sales guys, some of them were talking at low level procurement, or we're speaking to the engineering level, and there's no problems with that at all. But if you want to take that step up the ladder, you need to take that shift, and you need to understand the organization, you need to understand how it works, and you need to understand the challenges, and you need to invest time. And that's actually where, we talked about earlier on about how much does it cost to move from a supplier to a partner. What it costs is investment in time, and investment in how you're going to approach that customer. And by knowing the customer, and some customers, you might only need 15, 20 minutes on, but that's 15 to 20 minutes of time you weren't giving before, and you'll be able to go in and have really relevant conversations with them. I've gone to meetings before, Rick, where the salesperson didn't even know what the company did, where they've got up and presented, they did this. And the sales guys go, "Oh, I didn't know they did that." So it's on their website. And
Yeah.
the fact that this is their core business, you've
Yeah.
got to think that how are you going to be able to have a relevant conversation? I went to another meeting where they were trying to sell them a cloud-based product when it was documented in the news how they'd done a massive deal with another cloud-based product. And I was sat there, and this went on, and I sat there and I said to the partner, you've done no research around this customer at all, because I can tell you now they've gone with these other people. And it makes the partner look very, very bad to the customer, because you haven't done your research. You're not invested in them as a company. And so you've wasted their time. And the minute that you get into that mode of you've wasted my time is, and I used to do it all the time, is, well, we just won't use you. We'll use someone who does want to have those conversations.
And this is an interesting point, because actually I think that sometimes if you as an organization, or even you yourself as the salesperson for that particular customer, has for the last 2 or 3 years had a sort of product sales type relationship, a supplier type relationship with that customer organization, it can actually be harder to move their understanding of who you are and what you can do for them away from you being a supplier, have you got them in stock and how much are they, to being a trusted advisor and a partner to them, than if you were completely fresh and new to them. So in fact, there are perhaps even greater barriers to moving than to starting a new relationship with new customers. Now, that I'm not for a moment saying, don't give up on your existing customers, go and find new ones. That is most definitely not what I am saying. Far from it. But what I am saying is that you need to think long and hard about, how have I come across to my customer so far? When have I talked to them? At what situation? Is it instigated by them, or is it always instigated by me? Are they coming to me with their problems, or am I going to them with offers, product offers, for example? And how do I change that? Am I talking to the right people? How do I get introductions in to talk to the right people? If I'm not talking to the right people, what am I going to do differently? Because of course, if you do the same things as you currently do, you are very likely to be getting the same results that you currently get.
100%.
Okay. All right. So we've been talking for, I think, getting on towards an hour, maybe not quite on that. So let's try and sort of wrap a little bit of this up around this. Let's talk about the concept of land, adopt, and expand, if that's okay. Because I think that we've been talking a lot about sort of winning the customer over and becoming the trusted partner. So let's say that we've done that, and let's say we are now in the position where, to greater or lesser extent, and obviously this is something that you obviously continue to work on throughout your relationship with that customer, but to greater or lesser extent, we've moved from being the supplier to being the trusted partner. What do we do next? Where do we go from there?
So looking at currently what they've bought and what they've invested in. Looking at their business objectives and outcomes, and making sure, obviously, that, as we've discussed, but then actually looking at then how can you go on and either drive revenues, improve efficiencies, or drive cost savings and that could be improving security, it could be improving areas of their business that they haven't touched. And so that's the expansion piece, right? Is that you go in, you sell this, you sell a wireless system. Well, that wireless system, it's met all the business objectives and outcomes, so it's delivering all of those key components. Well, let's have a look down the stack. Oh, you've got a network there. Okay, well, let's have a look at that. Is that meeting all of the capabilities that you want to go and deliver in the future? And how's that going to support your business over the next 5 years? Okay, well, there's an opportunity there. How are you securing all of that, those activities, not just around the wireless system that you've already sold, but also the switching capabilities, the WAN, all of those other components that come into that. And so when you're talking about expansion, you can suddenly have those conversations cross architecture, where you're going up because you understand what the outcome is and where they want to go and what they want to achieve. You then understand all of the flows from an architectural point of view as to how to get to that component that you've just sold them. And so you can then start to, I always use the analogy, it's a puzzle, right? So transformation in any organization is a puzzle. And you need to be able to put those pieces of the puzzle. You don't have all the pieces, but what you're starting to do is build this picture up. And you will never, ever be able to complete the picture because the puzzle will always change. But you will be able to fit some of those pieces together where you are then starting to work with the customer to build that picture together to be able to support them over the next 5 or 10 or 15 years. Because as things change, as economics change, COVID, was a big curveball to everybody, and other things move, then that will change as well. And what you need to do as a partner is be able to shift with that as well and adapt, just like they are as an organization. So, once you've, I would always say to the partners, and we do, obviously, we run this as a service, is that we go back and have a look at what you have sold over the last 12 months. We then say, okay, let's go back and have those conversations with those customers to make sure that what's in there has been adopted correctly in there, but also where are the other areas that we can then go and see about expanding into? So, where are the other areas that could improve their businesses or drive those revenue streams to them? And then, that is a long-term strategy thing. That is not a short-term answer. And that's where the partnership comes in, opposed to I'm just going to go and supply you some stuff.
Right, absolutely, and perhaps a little bit of patience, especially in the early days, where perhaps a customer sees more risk than you see, because from their perspective, they don't know all that you know. They haven't had the experiences that you have had. You might know that your product X works perfectly well in situation A, okay, and they've got situation A. They don't even know they've got situation A, let alone anything about product X or how well it's worked for other customers. You know that. They don't know that. You're telling them that, but then you wouldn't you? It's your product. So their perspective is very different from your perspective. So this is where a little bit of empathy and a bit of patience might come in, where the concept of land and adopt coming first. So when you land the deal, maybe it's not as big as it could be. Okay, but you prove the concept through making absolutely damn sure, if I can say that, don't mind me swearing, making damn sure that they get value out of that initial implementation to be able to justify the expand that can come afterwards, having shown and reassured, and now they know it themselves rather than relying on you saying, trust me.
Yes, 100%. And inevitably, that first deal is not as big as the salesperson would want or the organization would want. As you say, Rick, you got it spot on. But as you work closer with that partner strategically, you will expand that account, and you will then start to build that portfolio so that you understand even more, you're aligned to that business, and that becomes one of your springboards. Exactly the same with the account that I discussed, that it started off as a small one. The deal was structured around a small deal, and then it started to build. And now, as I say, next year it's like forecast to be £8 million. Fantastic, right? And it's brilliant.
Wonderful.
But the customer knows the value, understands what the ROI is, understands that they can go and drive new revenue streams, and is working with a trusted partner. And that's the whole
and they're
thing.
confident of the risk now. Yeah, they're in a position where they are in the driving seat.
More importantly, they understand the risk. So
yeah, but then that's where that confidence comes from.
Exactly. And whereas before, a lot of companies don't understand the risk, and we're not just talking around security, we're talking about everything. Business.
Well, yeah, it's not just about it's about, well, yes, it may work for A, B, and C, but our company's unique. That's not definitely proving it works for D, our situation, until we try it in our situation, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Look, let's wrap this up if that's okay, Rich. It's been a great conversation, but I would like just to maybe finish off by talking about where Glue fits in and the types of services that you offer and when and how to sort of contact you, and then maybe I'll sort of finish with a little bit about my own organisation as well. So fire away. Talk to me a little bit about Glue, because I think it's a really exciting proposition what you've got.
Yeah, so we work with a lot of partners, but we also work with a lot of distributors. And having come from the customer world, Rick, I didn't even know. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know about the distribution model, right? So distributors were hidden. So we run. We work very closely with Tech Data, and we run all of their customer success as a service program for them. Very successful for their partners as well. And that is all about shifting that. So what Glue do as a group, we provide the ability to be able to come to us. We do discovery based services, so we understand where you are within your practices, and this is multi-vendor as well, so it doesn't have to be all around a specific vendor. This is around the practice that you're trying to deliver. We then work with you to understand those sales propositions. We obviously work with you, Rick, on the training aspect and helping those sales guys to actually be empowered to be able to go and have those capability conversations. And then from that is where Glue really stand out, is we have a virtual offering. So instead of having to go and buy all of these people in, we complement those partner services with Tech Data and with our services to be able to then build out those partners to be able to go and deliver end-to-end propositions back to their customers. So that means that now, if they couldn't invest before in certain practices, let's say, for instance, a security practice, what they can do is work with Glue, obviously yourself, and with Tech Data to actually build that end-to-end proposition, including delivery and managed services, while they then look at investing themselves to build up. And Glue's whole proposition is modular. But also it allows for the partner to be able to go and have those value-based conversations cross-architecture with the backing of a big distributor as well, and globally to be able to go and deliver those real conversations. So yeah, in a short, very high level, that's what Glue do.
That's what Glue do. Yeah.
So, and obviously, if people would like to visit the website, go to the website. It's gluegroup.com.
And Glue, by the way, is just GLU. There's no E on the end. It's just GLU, Glue.
Yeah.
Like GNU.
Yeah. I haven't heard that one before, but yeah, it's and the whole thing is around gluing customers, partners, distributors, and vendors together, right? So we have some very strong relationships in distribution, partner land, and obviously vendors as well. So we work with a lot of the big vendors to shift that messaging to really help partners to go and have those value-based conversations. And we support a lot of partners into their customers as well.
Cool. And you're on LinkedIn, aren't you? So Richard Goodman, Glue, yes. GLU. Glue as in GNU. If you want to find Richard that way, then and anyone whose name is Richard obviously is a great guy. So it goes without saying. So, and as for ourselves, we are very proud to be a partner with Glue. Our focus at practicalcsm.com is on training, certification, CPD, and customer success management, both for dedicated CSMs, but also for everybody else who is customer facing and who needs to understand how to help customers achieve their outcomes, which is the role of customer success management, whether that be pre-sales, so your enterprise architects, your systems engineers, your account managers, your sales specialists, and everybody else involved there, including partner account managers and anyone else you want to name, but also then post-sales with your service executives and managers and your post-sales implementation specialists, and of course your customer success managers and customer success engineers as well. And we offer a full range of real-time classroom training and online self-study, all done virtually at the moment, of course, but nevertheless. And what sets us apart, I think, from our competitors is that ground up, we have developed to be relevant to all businesses. We don't focus on sort of the SaaS bit of customer success management any more than we focus on anything else. You know, our focus, if anything, is technology, and that includes technology vendors, SIs, resellers, disties. We understand that world. In fact, I was the person who developed the certification courses for Cisco systems, and I've trained literally thousands of Cisco and Cisco-related professionals, including SAs and SEs and all the rest of it that I mentioned there, in over 30 countries over the past sort of couple of decades. So what we now offer on the Practical CSM Academy is a distillation of all that knowledge and experience into a number of certification levels around customer success management. And we, as you said, partner with you where relevant to help organizations. Because here's the deal, guys, as I see it. When you sold a product, pre-sales, you sell the product. What do you need post-sales? Well, pre-sales, and then at the moment of sale, you deliver the product, and then post-sales, what do you need to deliver? Product support. When you move from being a supplier to being a trusted partner that Glue will help you to do, you are moving from no longer supplying a product, you're supplying an outcome. So if pre-sales, you're no longer just promising a product, you're promising an outcome. What do you need to deliver post-sales? Yes, you still need to deliver the product and you still need product support. That's just the first step. Then you need to deliver an outcome. And the person in your organization who's going to help the customer do that is the customer success manager. So just as you need to reorganize your organization to be selling, you also then, post-sales, need to be delivering outcomes, and that's where we can help you. So there we go. All right, great. So is there any final word you want to leave us on? I think we've covered a lot of ground. It's been a great conversation. I've really enjoyed it. Is there any sort of final thoughts on the concept of becoming a trusted partner rather than just another supplier that you would like to leave with, Rich?
No, I think I think we're a channel only business, so Rick, and so we see a lot of what happens in the channel, and we obviously work with a lot of customers, right? But through the channel, I would say to the partners or the resellers that are watching this, you need to make that jump, right? So you need to start investing in CX. It's not a technology driven aspect. I know that, like you said, right, you did all these Cisco aspects, and Cisco have a fantastic CX program, obviously, as you know. But this is driven, this is driven through the whole of everything that you do as a salesperson.
Absolutely.
Now you need to shift, and you need to change from going and selling that product to now selling a capability. And we can help you do that. We blend with you to do that. And we work with you to change that, to drive you as an organization, grow your revenue, grow your margins, and grow as an organization.
Lovely, thank you.
Thanks.
No, that's great. No, that's great, Richard. And you're quite right. You cannot, as a reseller, you cannot rely on the vendor to do all your work for you. Okay. So I think that's a good, useful, practical point to leave it on. So once again, Rich, thank you very much indeed. You've been very generous in sharing your time and your knowledge with us. I really appreciated talking to you. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, Rick. Thanks a lot.
Okay, guys, just to remind you all, I've been talking to Richard Goodman, or Rich Goodman, co-founder at Glue Group. We've been asking the question, resellers, are you a valued partner or just another supplier? If you've enjoyed this podcast, then please do pop to our website at practicalcsm.com, and you can subscribe there, join up and become a free member, and that will get you up to date with all our latest articles, videos, and podcasts. We publish a lot of free stuff that's available around the general topic of customer success management, and that is quite a wide sort of area. So please do jump in and see what we do, and browse the store, look at what we do, and if we can help you at all, then obviously just let us know. So my name is Rick Adams from practicalcsm.com, saying thank you very much for watching or listening, and I look forward to talking to you again in future episodes.